So right away, we're kind of seeing this blend of genres, which is already suggesting something a little bit different, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think when you see those two tags together, crime fiction and romance, it really raises the question of how those two elements are going to work together.
Right.
Are they going to play off each other? Are they going to complicate each other?
Yeah.
And I think it really speaks to a kind of a specific type of story that's not just about having a crime plot with a little bit of romance on the side, but really how those two forces kind of interact at a fundamental level.
Yeah. Okay. So picture this downtown Philadelphia
Okay.
on a really sticky Saturday evening.
All right. I'm there.
And our point of entry is a club called Evie's Eden.
Okay.
And you can almost feel that oppressive heat and humidity just hanging in the air
Yeah.
as our two detectives push through the entrance.
Yeah.
The author really throws you right into it, you know?
Right into the thick of it.
Yeah, with the blaring music and these strobing neon lights and just the mass of bodies just moving to the beat.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's really designed to make you feel as off balance as these detectives probably are going into this situation.
Yeah.
You know, the description really emphasizes the contrast between kind of the ordered world of law enforcement
Right.
and this very chaotic, almost primal atmosphere of the club.
Yeah.
You know, the stench of sweat and stale beer and the minimal relief from the vents. I mean, it's very visceral. You can really feel yourself in that space.
Yes. And then amidst this, organized chaos, we meet our two detectives.
Okay.
First up, we have Connor Williams, think young blonde.
Oh.
Everything neat and tidy,
Okay.
clean-shaven hair, perfectly combed, stern hazel eyes.
Okay.
You get the immediate impression that he's not thrilled to be here at all.
Right.
He's bothered by the atmosphere,
Yeah.
and especially the idea of having to work with criminals to solve this case. And he's even in full uniform, tie and all,
Oh, wow.
despite the sweltering heat.
Oh, he's sticking to the rules.
What does that tell you right off the bat?
I think that really speaks volumes about his character. You know, like, even in this environment, he's sticking to his uniform, he's sticking to the rules.
Yeah.
It really suggests a discomfort, I think, with anything that sort of deviates from the way that he thinks things should be.
Yeah.
So I think that stern look on his face that you mentioned is probably not just about the club. I think it's about a deeper kind of moral discomfort with the situation they're in.
Right. Yeah, he's by the book, and he's going to have to bend a little bit.
Yeah.
So then we have his partner, Vincent. He is the more seasoned one of the two,
Okay.
pushing 6 feet tall with some gray starting to show in his disheveled dark hair
Yay.
and a hard glint in his cobalt eyes,
Okay.
broad shoulders. You get that sense that he's physically imposing,
Yeah.
and he even has some faint scars on his arms, which might initially make him seem unapproachable.
Right.
But then you notice these deep laugh lines around his eyes, and he's quick to tease his very uptight partner.
Okay.
So he's kind of a study in contrasts, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's a much more ambiguous figure, I think, than Connor is. You know, he has that sort of disheveled look about him.
Yeah.
You mentioned the scars.
Yeah.
I think that hints at a more, lived-in past.
Hooray.
Maybe even a dangerous past.
Yeah.
But then he also has that sense of humor,
Yeah.
those laugh lines.
Yeah.
So I think he's probably someone who's seen a lot and developed a kind of cynicism or maybe even just a sense of humor about it all.
Right.
And probably navigates this world a lot more easily than Connor does.
Right. And so what are they doing in this pulsating environment?
Yeah. What brings them here?
They're there to meet an informant.
Okay.
And this isn't just, a routine tip-off.
Right.
They're trying to breathe life back into a cold case.
Oh, wow.
A missing suspect who vanished after a raid.
Okay.
They've hit a wall, and they're pinning their hopes on this informant to give them that crucial information they need.
So they're really relying on someone from this world to help them.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think it really highlights the limitations of traditional investigative methods in a case like this.
Yeah.
When a case goes cold, especially when it involves people who operate outside of the law,
Right.
detectives often have to rely on people who are within that world to get information.
Yeah.
So it's a necessary but very often ethically murky kind of area
Right.
where alliances are formed really out of necessity rather than trust.
Right.
And the fact that they're meeting in a place like Evie's Eden, I think underscores the fact that this informant is probably pretty connected and operates in this world.
Yes, and then the informant makes her entrance.
Okay.
And dramatic doesn't even begin to cover it.
Right.
Evelyn Ross appears at the top of this metal staircase leading down from a VIP entrance.
Okay.
And you can just imagine all eyes turning toward her, including our detectives.
Oh, God.
What'd you make of that initial staging of her arrival?
Well, I mean, the elevated entrance, the VIP designation.
Yeah.
It's all about establishing status and control, right?
Yeah.
She's literally descending into their world,
Mm-hmm.
making a grand entrance.
Yeah.
And it's a power play right from the start.
Yeah.
So it really sets the tone, I think, for the entire interaction.
Yeah, and the author doesn't hold back on the description either.
Okay.
A white suede jacket over a strapless midnight pantsuit with this deep plunging neckline.
Okay.
Cinched at the waist, swaying around long legs.
Mm-hmm.
Diamond-studded gold stilettos clicking on those metal stairs.
Oh.
The fabric just shimmering under the neon.
Okay.
And then the jewelry, a diamond choker cascading down her throat.
All right, she's making a statement.
It's a very specific image she's projecting, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every element of that look is carefully chosen to convey power, wealth, and really undeniable allure.
Yeah.
You have that white suede against that dark pantsuit that creates this really striking visual contrast.
Yes.
The diamond jewelry adds to this impression of opulence.
Yes.
And even the way that the pantsuit is described as swaying around her long legs.
Yeah.
It suggests a very confident, almost theatrical kind of movement.
Yeah.
It's designed to captivate.
Absolutely. And her appearance is just as striking.
Okay.
Smooth, olive skin, bright copper ringlets, but with this bold, partially shaved head.
Wow.
It's a really modern and edgy touch.
Yeah.
Russet lips with this prominent cupid's bow, dark, thick lashes, chocolate, smoky eye, high cheekbones, and then these piercing electric blue eyes.
Well, she's unforgettable.
She sounds it.
What does that combination of classic and contemporary features tell us?
I think it really suggests someone who is complex,
Yeah.
who's not afraid to defy expectations. She has these classic features like the cupid's bow,
Right.
but then she's also got this very edgy, modern, partially shaved head.
Right.
So it suggests that she embraces both her femininity
Yeah.
and a certain rebellious streak.
Yes.
And I think those piercing electric blue eyes that you mentioned really emphasize that.
Yes.
The sense that she sees right through people.
Yes. And Connor's reaction is priceless.
What's he?
He just mutters, "You're joking."
Oh, really?
But Vincent, he's clearly seen this before.
Right.
He just goes, "Nope."
Just like that.
Yeah, it's casual.
Wow.
Almost weary.
Yeah.
That one word says a lot about his past experiences with Evelyn, doesn't it?
I think so. So, Connor's shock, I think, really underscores his naivete.
Yeah.
Or at least his unfamiliarity with
Yeah.
informants like this.
Whereas Vincent's response suggests that he's seen this before.
Yeah.
That he has a history with her.
Yeah.
He understands who she is and how she operates,
Yeah.
and that this kind of dramatic entrance is just par for the course.
Right, exactly. So their initial interaction is quite telling.
Okay.
Evelyn gives Connor this coy smile
Okay.
and a breathy, "It's a pleasure to meet you, detective." But you can practically hear the sarcasm dripping off that sentence.
Oh, yeah.
And Connor, predictably, is awkward in response.
Well, yeah, I mean, what do you say to that?
Right. What do you think fuels her sarcasm in that moment?
I think her sarcasm probably stems from a few things,
Yeah.
Firstly, I think she's probably aware of their preconceived notions about her as, a criminal informant operating in a nightclub.
Right.
Secondly, I think it could be a way of asserting dominance right from the get-go, putting Connor in his place and immediately establishing that she is not someone to be trifled with. She's not going to be easily dismissed or judged.
Yeah.
So it's a subtle power play, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when she turns her attention to Vincent,
Okay.
the whole dynamic shifts.
Okay.
There's this definite warmth, almost fondness in her voice when she addresses him, and she immediately invites him for a drink.
Oh, okay.
And without a second thought, Vincent follows her behind the bar through this burgundy-painted steel door
Wow.
into what turns out to be her office,
Okay.
leaving a bewildered Connor to wait outside.
So he's really the outsider in this situation.
Completely.
Yeah, I mean, that private invitation, I think, really speaks volumes about the nature of their relationship. This immediate invitation. And Vincent's acceptance of it shows that they have a history. And also the fact that they're going into this private office.
Right.
That signifies a space where they can conduct their business away from prying eyes.
Yes.
A place where maybe the usual rules don't apply.
Exactly.
And Connor being left out in the noisy club, I think really emphasizes that he's an outsider in this whole dynamic.
Yes, and her office is such a departure from the chaos of the club.
Oh, really?
It's subtly chill in the air,
Okay.
with this unexpected scent of vanilla and dark cherries.
That's an interesting combination.
Yeah, we get a glimpse of these sleek leather armchairs around a mahogany card table,
Okay.
a personal bar,
Yeah.
a spotless cobalt glass ashtray.
So it's a very curated space.
Yes. What does this tell us about her?
I think it really reveals a desire for control and a taste for a certain kind of refined luxury,
Yep.
that chill in the air and the specific scent combination.
Yeah.
It creates a very distinct atmosphere, almost like a sanctuary from the chaos of the club.
Yes.
The mahogany and the leather suggests certain sophistication,
Yeah.
and then the personal bar hints at indulgence. So it's a space design, I think, for private negotiations.
Yes.
A place where she sets the terms.
Exactly. And then there's this intriguing detail.
Okay, what's that?
A single painting of a man and two women performing around a piano. Right. And we're told it's been missing from a Boston museum for 30 years.
Wow. Okay, so this is not just any painting.
This is not just set dressing.
Right.
What does this tell us about her world?
Well, I think that's a really significant piece of information
Yes.
that's dropped almost casually in the story.
All right.
And it really elevates her, I think, beyond the level of a simple informant.
Yeah.
Owning stolen artwork of that caliber
Right.
suggests connections.
Deep connections.
Deep connections in the criminal underworld.
Yeah.
A blatant disregard for the law.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder about what kind of leverage she might have,
Yeah.
and even the risks that Vincent is taking by dealing with her.
Exactly. So now we really see these power dynamics take center stage.
Okay.
Evelyn doesn't just sit down. She perches herself on the mahogany table right in front of Vincent, crossing her legs.
Okay, so it's confrontational.
It's a very deliberate, almost confrontational posture.
Yeah, absolutely. Her physical positioning here is a clear assertion of control.
Yeah.
She's in her domain,
Mm-hmm.
and she's sitting on the table at his eye level.
Right.
It challenges that traditional dynamic between a detective and an informant,
Yes.
and really suggests that she operates on her own terms.
Exactly. And then comes this incredibly intimate gesture.
Okay.
She leans in close to this tea. Vincent pulls out 2 cigarettes and a lighter from his own pocket.
Oh, wow.
Their faces are practically touching.
Okay.
Lights, one for him and then one for herself.
Interesting.
This is a level of familiarity that really blurs the lines, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, taking the cigarettes from his pocket,
Right.
the shared ritual of lighting them,
Yeah.
it really speaks volumes about their history and the very unusual intimacy of their relationship. I mean, it suggests a comfort level,
Yeah.
maybe even a shared understanding that goes way beyond just a professional arrangement. And I
Yeah.
think there's also an undeniable kind of sensual element to that whole exchange.
Yes. So they finally start talking about the case.
Okay.
15 young women have gone missing in the last 6 months.
Wow.
And their prime suspect is Robert Carroll.
Okay.
The description is almost pathetic.
What's he look like?
Beady gray eyes, greasy black hair,
Oh.
pudgy face, a sad wispy mustache.
Okay.
We've even got his mugshot.
All right.
What does that stark contrast in description between Evelyn and the suspect tell us?
Well, I think it highlights the very different worlds that these two characters inhabit.
Yeah.
You have Evelyn, who's this striking, powerful figure.
Right.
And then you have Robert Carroll, who sounds almost pitiful in the description.
Yeah.
It also potentially sets up Carroll as someone who is easily manipulated or controlled,
Mm-hmm.
potentially by someone like Evelyn.
Right.
And I think it underscores the predatory nature of the crimes being investigated.
Right. And then Vincent drops a bombshell.
Okay.
Robert was supposedly one of Evelyn's men a year prior,
Oh, wow.
directly implying that she knows where he is,
Mm-hmm.
but her denial is swift and icy.
What'd she say?
My organization doesn't deal in sex trafficking, a fact of which I know you're quite aware.
Okay.
There's a warning there,
Oh, yeah.
isn't there?
I think her denial is not just about the sex trafficking.
Right.
It's also a reminder to Vincent that she knows he's aware of the other business that she does run and the lines that she claims not to cross.
Right.
So it's a way of asserting her boundaries,
Yes.
at least in this particular area.
Yeah.
And maybe even reminding him of the consequences
Right.
of making accusations without evidence.
But Vincent pushes harder.
Really?
He insinuates that she's involved with Robert's disappearance,
Okay.
even referencing her reputation for dealing harshly with those who cross her.
What are you doing?
This is where the tension really ratchets up.
Yeah, he's playing with fire.
What's his gamble here?
Well, he's desperate, right?
Yes.
He's leveraging what he knows about her past and her reputation
Right.
to try and corner her.
Yeah.
And it's really risky
Yes.
because it could backfire and make her less cooperative.
Yeah.
But I think it shows that he believes that she's his only lead.
Right.
And he's willing to push the boundaries of their relationship
Yeah.
to try and get what he needs.
Yeah, and he literally corners her,
Oh, wow.
asking point blank, "Where is he, Evie?"
And what does she say?
Her response is fascinating.
Yeah.
It's playful,
Okay.
yet manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
She says, "My men are mine to punish. Why should I hand him over to you?"
She's toying with him.
Yeah.
I think she's really enjoying the power that she has in this moment.
Yeah.
She's testing him a little.
Oh.
She's trying to gauge what he's willing to offer
Yeah.
in exchange for her cooperation,
Right.
and by framing it as, her right to punish her own people.
Right.
She's also asserting her authority
Yes.
and challenging the authority of the police.
Exactly. So Vincent tries to appeal to her sense of justice.
Okay.
Talking about the missing women and their families.
Mm-hmm.
But she dismisses this with a cold cynicism.
So she's operating by a different set of rules. Completely. What does that tell us about her worldview?
Well, it really reveals a very hardened perspective,
Yeah.
shaped by her life in the criminal underworld.
Yeah.
She probably sees traditional ideas of justice as naive
Yeah.
or irrelevant to her reality.
Mhm.
Her priorities are about power control and self-preservation,
Yeah.
not some abstract notion of societal good.
Right. And then we get this glimpse inside Vincent's head.
Oh, okay.
He realizes that Evelyn is basically untouchable
Wow.
because of her influence over law enforcement and
She's
politicians.
had her hooks in a lot of places,
A warrant is simply not an option.
so they have to work with her.
They have to play by her rules.
Right. I think this really illuminates why they have to navigate this dance with her.
Yes.
It's a really crucial insight, I think, into the corrupting influence of power and the compromises that law enforcement sometimes has to make.
Right.
Vincent's realization here shows the limitations of the legal system.
Yeah.
When you're faced with individuals like this who just operate outside of its reach.
So it explains why they have to rely on her,
Yeah.
even though her methods and her affiliations are very questionable.
So Vincent shifts his approach.
Okay.
He resorts to physical intimacy,
What do you mean?
touching her hair, whispering,
Okay.
appealing to their past connection.
So it's a turning point.
It's a significant turning point.
What's he hoping to achieve?
I think he's abandoning that confrontational approach and trying to tap into whatever personal connections they might still share.
Okay.
He's gambling that their history
Mm-hmm.
and any feelings that might still linger between them
Yeah.
might be more effective than threats
Right.
or appeals to morality.
It's a desperate move.
It is.
It seems like he's exhausted all his other options.
I think so.
So what happens?
Evelyn admits that she feels used
Okay.
and hints that she wants something in return.
Oh, so it's transactional.
Very much so.
Yeah, I think this really suggests that they have this history of transactional exchanges.
Yes.
That their relationship is built on that. And she's clearly weighing the value of what she knows and
Right.
what she can get from him.
Exactly.
So it's a very calculated move.
Yeah. And then she cuts through the pretense
Yeah.
with a very direct, "Don't play dumb, Vince,"
Okay.
which leads to a passionate kiss,
Wow. Okay, so they cross a line.
completely emerging of their personal and professional motivations.
Yeah, I think this is really the moment where the lines between their professional relationship and their personal history
Yes.
become completely blurred.
Yeah.
It's the physical manifestation of that underlying tension
Right.
and the unspoken desires that are obviously still there.
Yes.
So it suggests that their interactions are never purely transactional.
Mhm.
There's always that personal element,
Right.
even if it's a complicated or potentially manipulative element.
Right. And in the aftermath of this encounter,
Okay.
the author describes them straightening their clothes,
Okay.
like a return to some semblance of order.
Right.
But Vincent feels regret, and Evelyn's guarded expression returns.
So that moment of vulnerability is gone.
It seems to have passed very quickly.
What does that say about their future?
I think it suggests that while there might be genuine feelings between them,
Yeah.
their relationship is ultimately defined by their roles
Right.
and the power dynamic.
Yeah.
You know, the regret that Vincent feels hints at the moral compromises that he's making,
Mhm.
and her guarded expression suggests that she's in control again,
Right.
having gotten what she wanted from the exchange.
Yeah.
So it implies a cycle.
Right.
Yeah.
Intimacy followed by distance.
Yeah, so Vincent, trying to get back to business, asks again about Robert's whereabouts.
Okay.
Evelyn, with this playful grin, picks up her phone and simply says, "Bring him in."
Right.
And just like that, Robert, matching that rather pathetic description,
Yeah.
is shoved into the office by two thugs, barely conscious.
She gets things done.
Shows how efficient she is.
Yeah, the fact that Robert appears almost immediately really highlights her power and her ability to deliver on her promises.
Right.
It's a stark contrast to that emotional negotiation she just had with Vincent, and it shows that when it comes down to it, she can be ruthless and efficient.
And her triumphant statement,
What'd she say?
"He's all yours, detective."
She's fulfilling her end of the bargain.
Exactly.
So I think there's a sense of finality in that statement,
Yeah.
but also a reminder of who's in control.
Yeah.
You know, she provided what he wanted, but on her terms.
Exactly.
It's a power move disguised as cooperation.
Yes.
She dictates how and when this information is exchanged.
So the final exchange is loaded.
Okay.
Vincent makes a sarcastic remark about all the fuss,
Mm-hmm.
but Evelyn replies, "Well, I thought he would make a good gift, but I wanted something too. Don't pretend you didn't enjoy it. Happy birthday."
She knew it was his birthday.
The birthday reveal adds a whole other layer.
It does. The fact that she knew it was his birthday
Yeah.
and even framed Robert's handover as a gift really underscores the personal and somewhat twisted nature of their relationship.
Yes.
And that comment about him enjoying the kiss,
Right.
it's a direct acknowledgement of the intimacy they shared and her awareness, I think, of its effect on him.
Yeah. And Vincent is genuinely surprised.
So he forgot.
He realizes his birthday is the next day.
He forgot his own birthday.
He'd even forgotten.
Wow. Okay.
He shares that with her. It's this brief, almost humanizing moment
Right.
amidst this criminal underworld.
Why do you think the author included that?
I think it emphasizes how consumed he is by his work and maybe even how disconnected he is from his personal life. The fact that she remembered his birthday
Right.
and incorporated it into their whole exchange
Yes.
really highlights, I think, the depth of their past connection, even if it's now warped by their current circumstances.
Right.
So it adds a real layer of poignancy to the whole interaction.
Yes. So the handover to Connor outside is brief and perfunctory.
And Vincent's explanation to his younger partner is a masterclass in understatement.
Yeah, does he say?
Don't ask.
Yeah.
It's complicated. But now you see what I was saying about Evelyn being one of our best informants.
So he's not giving him the whole story.
He's deliberately glossing over the methods. What's he trying to convey here?
I think he's trying to justify his actions and Evelyn's methods by focusing on the outcome.
Right, they got their man.
They got their suspect.
Right.
So he's trying to shield Connor, I think, from the more morally ambiguous aspects of their interaction, and maybe even trying to compartmentalize it a little bit himself. You know, it's a way of maintaining that professional facade despite the personal compromises that he's made.
And Connor remains thoughtfully silent,
Okay.
clearly processing what he's just witnessed.
Yeah.
And Vincent's internal thoughts reveal this lingering longing for Evelyn,
Oh, wow.
this foolish wish that he could somehow relive that intimate moment with her.
So there's unresolved tension there.
A lot of it.
Yeah, I think despite apprehending the suspect, the ending really underscores that the relationship between these two is far from over.
Yeah.
You know, there are unresolved feelings there, a complex history, and that's going to continue to shape their interactions moving forward.
Yeah.
It suggests that the pursuit of justice in this world
Yeah.
often comes at a personal cost.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Dressed for Ruin,
All right.
we've explored this really tense and revealing encounter in a Philadelphia nightclub. We've seen how this intricate and morally ambiguous relationship between Detective Vincent and his informant Evelyn
Yeah.
ultimately led to the capture of a suspect in this cold case.
Right.
But it came at a price, didn't it?
It sounds like it.
This highly charged, intimate exchange on the eve of Vincent's birthday.
Yeah, I mean, this excerpt really masterfully blends the gritty realism of crime fiction with the intense emotional undercurrents of romance.
Yeah.
And it shows how those power dynamics and personal histories can get really intertwined in this pursuit of information and justice. So these characters operate in this fascinating gray area where motivations are complex and those clear-cut moral judgments are really hard to make.
Absolutely, and that leaves us with some pretty compelling questions for you to consider.
Yeah, what are those?
What does this glimpse into Vincent and Evelyn's world tell us about the nature of justice? The compromises that are sometimes made in its name.
Right.
Does the capture of Robert Carroll justify the means?
Yeah.
And what kind of history must these two individuals share
Yeah.
for such a complex and intimate exchange to even be possible?
Yeah. That's a lot to unpack.
It's a lot.